Hey, listen, that what we did the first time, that was good, but we ain't done. We got more fire coming on this same topic right here. We got Big Coop over here chiming in, giving us his info. We gonna smooth right into this next one, and let's get it going. Tell me what you got, bro.
Okay, let me pull up the questions.
Okay, he gonna pull up the question.
No, because we already talked about it. So, I want to start. I'm gonna start with you, and we'll move to D-Moss, and we'll come back to Big Coop. So, I mean, we kind of covered this, but let's just go. I reset it. Let's just go through it anyway. What does emotional intelligence mean to you? Because the reason even though we just covered the whole thing, probably should have asked this before we really broke it down, because it's probably changed for everybody, even changed for me. But just what it mean? What does emotional intelligence mean for you? Because I know there are some people out there that feel like you, and that think like you, that don't feel like me and don't think like me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, what does emotional intelligence mean to you? That's my first question.
And we're going on what it means to me, not necessarily the definition, but what it means to me. And what I wrote down was, when you gave me the question, I was right. I think of emotional balance. You know what I'm saying? Emotional balance, like understand the wins, the whats, the whatnots, and the wheres. You know, so when I'm talking emotional balance, and when I say the win, you know, I have to know when to balance mine out. I can't just jump into my feelings, you know, and I'm working on that. You know, I'm working on that, because sometimes me and the wife, we don't see eye to eye on certain things, and I can bear up.
Hold on, let me stop you. How are you working on it? Because you say I'm working on it. Don't say you working on it. How you working on it?
I'm recognizing that. Okay. I'm getting to that point. You know, and I mean, like during the conversation, I can see when she's saying what she's saying, and I can see me getting ready to be the bear, and I'll be like, no, that's not what we want. That's not what we want to do. You know, because that's not going to take us where we need to be in this conversation. You're being emotionally unbalanced. Balance yourself out. Listen to what she's saying. You know, so I'm working on that part of me.
Sound like cognitive reframing.
Oh, that's the next topic. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, about the emotional balance. You know, we got to be able to balance it out. We got to know when to be a little more firm, when to be a little less firm. You know, when to be the listener, when to be the talker. You know, so.
Okay. What does emotional balance mean to you?
2 words. Unconditional love. Period. What you're describing takes unconditional love to accomplish. Because you set the precedent when you said, if God is the overarching alpha, right? Yeah. And if we're made in His image, right? That word image means icon, which means a copy. Right? You like the Icon Copy Company? It means a copy, right? So we have the fruits of the Spirit in us, right? And what Paul said in 1 Corinthians 13, all these things are great, but if you don't wrap it in love, then it means nothing. Right. So emotional intelligence to me, what I'm getting from you, little bro, is unconditional love. Now, how do I say that? Because my wife, right? I'm commissioned to love her unconditionally, but is it just something I'm doing because I was commissioned, or do I really believe it?
Shout out to Kamara Cooper.
Shout out to Kamara.
Hey,
yes. Shout out to Kamara. So we get practice every day to go forward on emotional intelligence with unconditional love, because if that's not part of it, then you're just going to be robotic.
Okay.
Which makes sense, because if you look at it, you know, you're going to get a bunch of like things that go along with emotional intelligence, which is true, that it's impossible to be emotionally intelligent if you ain't operating in love. The type of love, when we say unconditional, the type of love that doesn't require anything for you to have it. Yeah, okay. D-Moss, C-Moss, what does emotional, what am I asking?
Emotional intelligence.
Mean to him?
Well, before today, just being honest, my emotional intelligence thought process was just being able to understand where the other person was coming from. And I felt like as long as I understood that was enough. I still tried to get my point across of why I felt the way I felt. With that being said, you being the podcast pastor and speaking on managing the emotional intelligence of yourself and that other person changed my narrative on how I feel about it now. To where now,
Just now.
Yeah, just today.
Right.
Like I thought I was doing good.
That's what the podcast
You know
will
what I
do
mean?
to you.
I'm gonna say I am still doing good because I changed a lot about me. But I thought I was at the peak of it. But today just showed me that I have a lot more to go when it comes to the fact of
all of us,
having a situation with a relationship, friendship, or whatever it is, and once you hear the person out, leave it at that. Not okay. Well, I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but I said this because I felt this way. Because now you're taking away from their emotional intelligence and managing theirs and putting it back on how you feel.
You just expressing
You just express. Yeah, you overbearing the whole situation and making it just about you.
Yeah, you made it about you.
So playing devil's advocate.
So
So when do you, because as a married couple, when do you detoxify and go over those emotions that you misinterpreted, misconstrued, right? When do you do that?
I think me personally, I feel once that situation has had and hashed out, because depending on the level of the heat that's going, you have to have a gauge of,
Got it.
is it okay to go into the conversation and asking, well, what did you hear me say? Or do you need to let it die down for a while,
Okay.
take a break,
So
and
take a
then
trip
come
to the
back,
room and then circle back.
circle back to that
And then when
conversation.
you can have two mature, intelligent
Exactly.
people.
You don't have two high-headed people trying to
I like
push their narrative and their opinions. Give it, like you say, read the room, and if it's at the point that, well, you think you know you're calm, but you know your mate, and no matter what you're saying, they're not hearing what you said. They're feeling what they're feeling, so there's no point to even have that conversation. But if you go out, y'all go take a walk, go whatever it is to get you back to where the house is running, how the house is supposed to run, then ask a question. Maybe is it okay that we have a conversation about what we talked about earlier? Because we're not both on a level playing fields. We're level-headed, and I don't feel that neither one of us got out what we were really trying to convey to each other, because we both were at 10. And that's not what we're here for. That relationship is not about a battle. It's about coming together and being together to build.
To create a flow.
To create an awesome flow.
Create a flow.
To create momentum.
Create a flow.
So
it sounds like, I mean, everything we pushing out is going to your topic.
Cognitive framing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you want to dive into that, or you want to? We'll get through the questions first. Okay. Yeah. No, I like that. You said one thing though. I like how you said. You used the word overbearing. I want to throw this out there about overbearing. Let me tell you about a. Don't ask me how. What made me know this? But a tree. You know, when a tree produces fruit, there's a stage a tree could enter in that's called, and I'm gonna show you why why it's setback to be overbearing. A tree hits a stage that it bears so much fruit, and it's called the overbearing stage. And what happens is all of the fruit are fighting for the same nutrient.
That's why you don't have
and so fruit. What it does is the fruit doesn't die.
It just doesn't taste as like it's supposed
No,
to.
it ain't that. It may be that too, but I'm going a different angle because I don't know that.
Okay.
But you Demos Semos, you may know that. What happens is it restricts the size, the greatness, and the expansion of the fruit. So what a tree would do is, because we used to think that, like especially you see it with mangoes, we used to think mango trees drop fruit because they were just heavy. So what a tree does is it manages the stress, the struggle, the confrontation, the competition. The tree manages that, and it releases fruit off the tree so that the fruit remaining can become bigger. You understand what I'm saying? And so I like how you said overbearing, because if you're the type of person and you're overbearing in any of your ships, relationship, friendship, all that kind of stuff there, then you're restricting how large your fruit can be. Some people got a whole bunch of small bittersweets. I would rather have a bittersweet.
Listen, whoever listening and not in Florida, don't worry about it. Bittersweet.
But I want to plug that in there
That's
because
not what they're called.
what are they called?
What are they called?
I don't know, but
Bittersweets? That's what we call them.
that's what we call
Because they,
it.
but they ain't sweet.
They ain't sweet at all.
Small and bitter.
They ain't sweet at all.
Google bittersweet.
But I want to tie that in there, because if you're the type of person that's overbearing in whatever ships you got in your life, then you're restricting how big something can be. just by being what you said, D-Mouse, C-Mouse, what you said with your wife, just in a relationship period, you overbearing, you know what I'm saying, instead of because you can overbear or you can manage. That's a difference. You know what I'm saying? And overbearing is almost shutting somebody down and expressing who you are in every case. Yeah, I understand that, but that's overbearing. And you restricting how big that thing could be. See how powerful relationships is?
And you best believe when it's time to produce fruit in the next season, it won't be as much. To your point about the tree, I got 2 mango trees. 1 year, abundance of mangoes. The next year, 4 or 5.
Stress kills
anything. Stress killed the growth of the mango tree. Beautiful point.
So we got to be like the tree. You know what we want to talk about is like you'll be like a tree, planted by rivers of water. We got to be like the tree that we manage the stress and the struggle. Because when you think about it, when 2 people are arguing, it's like all those fruit on the tree. 2 people are arguing, fighting for the same position, the same sap.
Before I jump in,
they fighting to be right.
So,
And
question:
that's what those fruit do.
You say you have to be
And
like
it
the
keeps
tree,
everything
right?
small.
So going back to emotional intelligence, and you talking about relationships.
I don't talk about relationships.
No, you spoke on.
Oh, okay. I just mentioned.
You mentioned that.
It ain't got that good.
You mentioned that I ain't talking about relationships. I'm talking about it's just for us.
Oh,
Friendships, all like that. They all we don't supposed the ships. We don't supposed to let them go.
The ships.
So with what you just mentioned about the tree and stressors, the tree releases the fruit because it's straining everything else.
I see where you're going.
So with the ships,
Come on, Doc.
if it's so you feel like that ship is straining you to deal with any other
I
ships,
see where you're going.
do you let that go? Or do you hold on to that?
Do you do the example of the tree?
Exactly. Do you do what the tree does and release it?
Ooh.
And then that goes back to
But the tree, now the tree releasing the fruit. Now you asking if in a relationship there's a struggle, because how the tree releases fruit, the tree releases fruit not to stop the cycle of fruit producing. The tree releases fruit so that the fruit that remain can become bigger, actually to give you more. So now that's what we talked about. If a person may be toxic, that's why the relationship is toxic. First, you got to do your due diligence and try to detoxify it. That's where the emotional intelligence come in at, and you consider where they're from, and you start having conversations based on how they feel.
So at what point do you come to the sense of, okay, again, I've done all that I can do. I poured as much as I feel I can pour into this person, and they're still not getting it, and it's a stressor on you.
I got you. But first we have to be honest and make sure, have we done all that we can do?
I'm saying, okay. But if you get to that point.
I'm going to tell you. So this was a part I didn't want to mention, but as some of the people know, we putting some stuff together because we want to go into prisons and teach. So part of one workbook part thing I was writing, because we deal with emotional intelligence, one of the first things you have to have is self-awareness. Okay. So I got this journal that I'm putting together, and to properly make sure that you've covered your end and trying to detoxify the partner, whatever the situation is,
whatever the ship
you have
is,
to make sure that you have practiced and you have mastered your self-awareness. Take it out.
Bingo.
Take it out of your eye. But now listen. So to master your own self-awareness, to get the plank out of your own eye, there's work you have to personally do first.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't personally do the work, and they feel like I've done all I can, but they think when they say I've done all I can, they saying I've given you all the advice and information I can give you, and you still haven't changed. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people mean when they say I've done all I can, and it's stressing me out. It's stressing you out because you're not getting the results based on the expectation that you think you're supposed to get. Because you think you right. I almost cuss. Because you think you right.
Think you're right all the time.
because you think you right. Yeah. So to be able to say I've done all I can, first means you have really worked on your self-awareness.
Gotcha.
So I got a thing, and I'm going to throw this out, and we're going to leave it alone because we're going to present this at some time, where you have to journal. Journal is one way of working on self-awareness. Right. Every day, write your emotions down, whether you had it up or high. Listen, every day, you write that down. At the end of the week, you go by and you read that. At the bottom, you'll write down, and I'm telling you, this is the work people don't do. At the bottom, you write down any identical emotions that you have throughout that week. Okay. See, because we said it's recognizing. We don't recognize, but so then you write down that week and you see, dang, I felt this way twice. Okay. Then you do that for each week.
Cognitive thinking. Yeah.
You do that for each week, right?
Uh-huh.
So at the end of the month, you look at all your weeks, you look at all your identical triggers, and you see if there's any patterns. If it's like budgeting, you tell people to write down every time you spend something. At the end of the month, you'll see how much money you wasting. If you write your emotions down, but you have to do it. If you write your emotions down every day, and at the end of the week, you overlook your emotions and you write down any identical emotions, because those eventually become triggers. And at the end of the month, you look and see if there's any pattern, and you'll be like, every time such and such say something, I feel this
way.
every time. And once you start to notice your triggers,
You can charge changing.
that's now you're becoming
You put in the work.
self-aware.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because now, once I understand what triggered me, and we almost finna flow into your cognitive thing, now I know how to talk, I know how to present a conversation where I won't get a response that triggers an emotion in me that causes me to be toxic.
Tenfold.
So in other words, we never do all that we can.
Never.
It's work.
I would definitely
And
say,
we'll
yeah.
do the work.
At the end of the day,
let's
it's
keep it 100,
It's never
right?
ending. I
we
got you.
never do
Yeah.
all that we can.
That's what I get from that.
We say that to pacify ourselves,
Uh-huh.
but in actuality,
We never do.
We never do. We never
We
do.
do all I can on trying to fix
We
you.
all do I can
Yeah.
That's
for
why
you.
we said earlier about grooming.
Grooming.
Exactly.
We do all I can to try to groom you.
Yeah.
We want to do all I can to first become aware of who we are, even who our personal triggers are.
Toes being stepped on. I'm talking about straight.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about this podcast, that it's all we trying to get people to understand, that every day it's about growth. We never stop growing.
Right.
That's all. Like Smurf said, he thought he was at the peak. Now he realized he at the bottom of the mountain. So I mean, he got a lot of elevating and climbing.
A lot
do
more
of work
climbing to do.
And that's each of us. But for those who run from the work, never get the results. And a lot of us are without results and broke and frustrated and lonely and unhappy because we won't do work, bro.
And it's
Mental
hard.
health therapy, that's one part.
Yeah.
But that's a work you got to do yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know your own triggers?
Yeah.
Or are you just pop off and get pissed off and you know y'all better watch out because they'll pop off?
And
Do you know
and restrict the growth of the tree.
Do you know your triggers?
Wow.
Where we at? We just
Yeah, we might be a 3-hour show.
I
man.
can't wait till we go live.
But that you got to know that your triggers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it and it's work. It's work. I'm gonna tell you. Every time I walk out that door when we get done, I have to make sure and at least try that I am bringing everything we talk to y'all about, everything I come out here and tell y'all to do, that I take it with me and take it to my home and to my lifestyle,
preach it to
and I do it
myself.
too. You know, because just like they say, have I really done the best? No, I have not. You know what I'm saying? So,
And I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day.
okay. Yeah.
Let me see it in practice. I'm talking to myself.
Right.
I'm in the mirror now. Now I'm the man in the mirror. Let me see it. Let me see me do this instead of me saying it.
It ain't about being perfect. It ain't about being perfect, because we'll never be perfect. It's about being intentional of becoming a better person, of becoming a better steward, a better manager of the relationships. Because I'm telling you, outside of relationships, it ain't too much you can get done in your life. And I started off by saying, by myself, this is gonna be good. With you, it was better. With you, it was better. With Smurf, it's greater. You know what I'm saying? With the four of us, it's undeniable. You know what I'm saying? So as we add, when people start to pour in their gift and what they bring to the table, the probability expands, man. Expands. What that thing say? What that thing say? One can chase 1,000, and two can chase what? 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah.
One horse can pull a ton. 2 horses can pull 8 tons. Exponential growth.
If 8 dudes finna jump on me in the parking lot, I got to fight the best I can. But if you down there with me, we get back to back. We stand a chance of not ever hitting the ground.
Right.
Because if somebody catch you, my back holding you up. Somebody catch me, you holding me up. So the numbers, like, we got to play the numbers game. That's football coaches.
Huh?
Being defensive coach, offensive coach, when you look at that line, the first thing you do is you count the numbers. Okay, if they got 5 defensive line, it's a numbers game. It's a number game. If they stacked on one side, if they got 3 on one side, 2 on the left side, I'm going to the left. It is a numbers game. You think our culture was off when they talked about mathematics and not? It's a numbers game, bro. They say numbers what? Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Men lie, women lie.
I have talked enough.
This podcast always brings,
I'm tired.
it shines some light on something that
That's work.
that people may never have that they don't talk about in their
Wow.
everyday life. I want everybody out there to be honest. I want everybody out there to be honest, and I want you to ask yourself,
Please.
when
Yes, please.
have you either said or thought about emotional intelligence? When?
Never.
When? The topic that we're discussing today, emotional intelligence. Be honest, and I just want you to be honest with yourself, because this is how you're going to learn, and this is how you're going to be able to now, okay, emotional intelligence. Never thought about it. Now I hear what these guys talking about on the podcast. Now I see what work I need to do with me as far
What
as
more work I
being
need to do.
emotionally intelligent.
Absolutely.
You know, because when I gave Chuck a couple topics that we should talk about, and then he hit me later with emotional intelligence, I was like, what? What?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I got it, but it wasn't nothing that was part of my everyday life that I thought about, you know, but the minute he sent it to me and I started researching, I'm like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? I realized some things I'm bad at. I realized some things I'm good at.
Yeah.
I realized some things I had to work on, you know, because I realized how I would do a lot of emotional suppression. You know what I'm saying? Right. I would get into a situation or whatever it is, and I'll suppress it. I just push it down there, you know. It ain't going nowhere. It's still under my feet, you know. So now, when something comes up, now I'm popping off, as we talked about. I'm emotionally unbalanced. I'm not being emotionally intelligent. I'm being emotionally unintelligent. And everything that I emotionally suppress, now you getting it. I'm giving it all back to you. You know, instead of recognizing and working with it when it was coming along, trying to find the good in it and the balance in it. You know, so being able to discuss this topic was monumental to me, you know. So, and I can imagine how it's going to affect a lot of the people out there, how it's going to change your thought process, and how you're going to be able to work on your emotional balance, and how some situations where you had in another ship, whatever your ship was, you know, with Chuck saying some of the things he did, that's why he the podcast pastor. It allows you to understand, well, you don't just have to discontinue somebody or discontinue what they say. You can find a route and a way to manage their emotions as well. You know, again, it's just like being a manager. You know, if you're a manager of a store, you understand how that store got to run. You kind of know what the wrongs and the rights can be. You got to understand and put in place a method that's going to work, not just for you and the store, but your employees. You know what I'm saying? You're managing. You can manage things in people without like telling them what to do. You're making the proper adjustments so they can flow as you flow.
And you're
You know
setting
what I'm saying? Jumping up and down
expectations.
over
Yeah,
there.
cause I got.
expectations.
He burning.
Oh, what's
Come
going
on.
on? Oh no, no, I got something that I wanted to speak on from something bro spoke on earlier that kind of coincide of what we was talking about out there.
Tell it.
The inner narrative shift.
Okay.
And he made me do a little bit more work just within a 30-second conversation about what I had came up with in the first place about inner narrative, which to me, inner narrative is it's something dealing with yourself, how you feel about yourself, what you see. So the question that he asked me where did it come from, made me dive into it just that quick about, okay, that's your upbringing. What have you seen? What are you used to? And it can be good or it can be bad. And my example was, okay, as far as a child, you have certain parents that feel like their child can't do no wrong. And a teacher can call from the school to talk about a disciplinary action or something that the child did. But instead of the parent actually hearing what the teacher
Not my
or the
child.
counselor said, it's not my child. Making your child feel like, oh, I can go do this whatever I want to because
What you doing wrong?
no
as a
matter
teacher,
what I
'cause it ain't
do,
my child.
well, no matter what I do, it's going to be glorified in my parents' eyes because I can't do no wrong. Or always giving your kids what they want when they're not deserving. Yeah, we already talked about that in the past podcast about feeling like they're entitled. But when bro was speaking earlier, and I know as a child, you're not going to be able to understand that, but at a certain age, you should get to that point where no matter what your upbringing is, there's only one person we supposed to have that guiding light to actually follow and be like, and that's God. So if we all can get to that point to where we're striving to do exactly what we're never going to get there, but if we strive to do what He set out for us to do,
But
our
you
life.
gotta know that though, bro.
That's why I said. That's why I said you
If
won't
it-
know
if
as
it
a
not-
child. You wouldn't know that as a
might not
child.
know it as an adult if ain't nobody put it in you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, because our grandmas went to church.
Oh, exactly.
When I took
But
the call, my mom was like, "Okay, thank you." No, not my
the
child.
reason I would go against that now is because your upbringing, my upbringing a little after that, yeah, it was totally different. But the way of the world now, with technology and how everything, there's no way you can tell somebody unless you just sitting in a rock
Yeah.
by your lonesome and
you
don't
don't
know
know.
nothing.
You don't know.
You can't tell me you don't know.
Yeah.
I can't look at a person that's from the age of I give it to the age of 15 and up
Yeah.
that you haven't heard about God. You don't know about how things work. You can say they might not understand it, but it has been put out there to them. There's no way you can say that that's not the truth. Comprehension over knowledge.
But there's a whole lot of information out there for people to know.
Yeah.
You know, but you can scroll right past it.
Mhm.
But that's
You
my
know, You
point.
gotta grasp it. It don't matter
But that goes back to you have to do the work.
You got to do the work.
if you choose to do the work. Just because it's there don't mean you're gonna do it.
You're right.
You know, I mean,
'Cause-
it was different with us because it was instilled in us.
Y'all had to do it.
You know, we had to
Yeah.
do it.
We did.
You know,
We had to.
sat
Well, no,
in-
I take that back. I had to. Well, we had to be in church every.
You know,
we
we sat in
Sunday
church
school,
sometimes.
Bible study,
You didn't have to do it, but somebody brought it to you.
Yeah.
Somebody brought it to you.
Yeah.
And that's my point.
14,
You ain't
49th
yeah.
Street
And
North.
not to say that somebody can't learn it on
Sitting
a
in the
lot of
jail
these
cell.
a lot of these social medias and platforms and that kind of stuff. Not saying that it's not possible, but you gotta want to put it. You it has to grasp you. You got to connect to it. You be like, hey, okay, I just watched this one cat speak on God and that kind of stuff. I'm gonna try another one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people like, okay, next, let me see the funny.
I guess the point I'm getting to
You
is
know?
that is like I said, because it could be positive and negative. If you're leaning more so on the negative side and you feel like my life ain't nothing, no matter what I do,
That's that.
it ain't
That's
working.
that inner, and I don't know. See what we was talking about is that an inner narrative.
Of you.
You know, he talked fast. He made it sound like one word.
Oh yes,
But
inner
what he
narrative.
was
My
saying
bad.
was the inner narrative has to shift.
Have to make a shift
So-
about you to yourself
Exactly.
before
And
you
so-
can help anybody
and
else.
And that's what we was talking about. He was saying you got to change the story about yourself to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And the story that we need to tell ourselves is the story that we get from
that
God.
we get from God. Yeah.
That we get from God. Who are you? And so that was leading us to the point was that we was talking about. That's why it's important that, and I'm not talking about organized. We want to talk about organized religion because you have to deal with what works for people. That's why we got to get to the point where we individually have to start to pursue our own personal relationship with God.
Exactly. You have to do
Because
the work.
God will change the story that's playing in your head. But that's a choice.
Yeah,
Right?
you have to do the
But
work.
without making that choice, it's
Yeah.
going to be an unsuccessful journey. Right.
So I love what you're saying, Lil Charles. What you're saying is there are so many different truths as we believe them to be, but
But
let's
there's only
establish the truth.
the one truth. Exactly.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
First and foremost. Then once that truth is established, right, then we can go out. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And be emotionally intelligent.
Intelligent. Yeah.
Because we know what we fall back on with that one
Exactly.
truth that was told about ourselves from the man upstairs.
And that fall back on you will never fall.
That's right.
So yeah.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, I ain't got nothing else. That
Yeah, bro,
yeah.
close it out,
That
man.
yeah.
Okay,
I can't.
Much-
my interview.
much information today. Excellent topic. You know, it tied into a lot of things, how a lot of things tied together. Big Coop on the mic today. We appreciate you having you in here today, man. If we ask you to come back, we would like you to come back again.
I will be here.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Podcast pastor, you mentioned about having a weapon. You know what I'm saying? Establishing a weapon earlier. I heard somebody say the other day, You know, because there's so much noise going around us at all the time. You know, it's noise in your relationship, it's noises in your job. It's just so
It's
many
noise.
noises in our head. You know, trying to lead us the wrong way or talking us down. We need to learn
Oh.
how to weaponize the noise. Weaponize the noise. Use it as a weapon. You know, when they come at you negative with that noise, use it as a weapon. When it comes to you in the job and and things are not going the way that you want them to go, or it's a lot of pressure, weaponize the pressure. Use it in the battle to work for you.
Not
Word
against
is the
you.
sword.
Let's do that. Weaponize the noise, everybody. Whatever the noise in your life, let's weaponize it. Fellas Ain't Failure 42 podcast. Boy, we love y'all so much.
Yes, sir. We out,
Appreciate
baby.
y'all coming in. Peace. Cue the mic.